Abdaj Abdullahi. The special guest speaker, Engineer Professor Muhammad Sani Haruna, a product of the Tibet sector himself. He had HND before he went for PhD. He rose to be a professor in electrical engineering. So those with HND should take inspiration. You can rise to the highest level. Don't allow, insinuations and, whatever they call it, to drag you down. Your HND should be a booster for you because you have both theory and practice, and you should aspire to reach to the highest level. He is the executive vice chairman of NASENI, a frontline agency of government for the establishment of engineering and science infrastructure in Nigeria. We really appreciate your coming. I know you have a very busy schedule, but you have still found time not to send a representative, but to come in person. This is highly appreciated. Rector, chief executives and their representatives here present, directors of the NBTE, special assistants. Yes, special assistant, you have really brought a lot of discipline to the NBTE. It is like if God sends you on a mission, he gives you a very strong assistant. Like in the case of Moses and Harun. I'm not taking myself to that level. Or even the case of Usman Fodio and his brother Abdullahi Fodio. I'm not taking myself to that level. But at whatever little level we are, I have a very special assistant who is known for his disciplinarianism in the NBTE. We appreciate your contributions to this agency. Good morning to all of you, staff, directors, and others here present. The purpose of today's event is to tell the world what polytechnics and other Tibet institutions can do, the contribution they can make to national development through research, development, and innovation. Over the years, government and its agencies have been pumping a lot of money into research and development in universities. Last year alone, TED funded 12 centers of excellence, each with 2 billion naira to promote research. That was just 2021. Previous years, billions have been invested into universities for research and development. But up till today, there is no significant technology in this country that you can call Nigerian. We have been investing money on research, but we are yet to see innovations going into commercialization. And for that reason, we want all those funding agencies and the government itself to realize there is need for a paradigm shift. There is something that we have gotten wrong. And that which we have gotten wrong is we have not allowed polytechnics to key in to the R&D agenda. Polytechnics in this country have the capacity to deliver on R&D. And that is what today's guest speaker is going to tell us about. The role of polytechnics in research and development for national economic development. Now, importantly, a lot of the researchers going into the universities, they end up as journal papers. Very few attract patents. And beyond that, nothing happens. This is because there is a role which polytechnics can play to take them to the level of innovation and commercialization. And unfortunately, polytechnics have not been given the necessary funding to achieve that level of development. I will give a typical example, which I gave at another forum. in the Ahmadu Bello University, and I invited the Dean of Engineering. I don't know whether he couldn't make it, but he said he was sending a representative. In the Ahmadu Bello University, in the Faculty of Engineering, in my own department, Chemical Engineering, for more than 20 years, since 1990s, there was ongoing research on the development of zeolites. Zeolites are important catalysts used in fluid catalytic cracking process in the refinery. If you go to Kaduna Refinery, there is an FCC unit. FCC stands for fluid catalytic cracking. The FCC unit has been importing zeolites from overseas since 1970s. The FCC is also very critical because 2/3 of the petrol, PMS, or what you call gasoline, comes from the FCC unit. These zeolites have been imported for decades. In the 1990s, Ahmadu Bello University developed or carried out research, and they were able to produce zeolites in the laboratory. They were tested for cracking, and they proved very successful. 30 years down the lane, we are yet to get that research to the level of commercial production. The reason for that is simply because we have not been able to develop a pilot plant that will produce the zeolites in semi-commercial level. They have been produced in test tubes, in small beakers, etc. But to move that to a pilot level, we have not been able to achieve it because the universities don't have capacity to fabricate pilot plants. If that research project had engaged Kaduna Polytechnic, even before the Center for Technology Development came on board, probably by now, Nigeria would have been producing zeolites on commercial scale. So up to today, tens of journals have been published, patents have been drawn, but that research has not become an innovation. If we had really come to the polytechnics who have the capacity for fabrication, by now maybe would have developed a pilot plant producing a few kilograms per day, and then you can scale that up to produce commercially in terms of a couple of tons per day. This is a typical example to show how synergy between universities and polytechnics can enhance research and development and move it to the level of innovation. Any research which does not reach commercialization is not an innovation. And that's why the whole we are going to commission today, we screened a number of researchers from different polytechnics, and we identified the ones that we feel can be commercialized. And we're inviting all stakeholders, including industry, including government agencies that fund research and development, to please invest into these researches so that we can move them to the next level. Let me not end up giving a lecture anyway. Let me allow Professor Mohammed Sanaruna to do that one. Mine is to welcome you all, and we look forward to a very successful deliberations, and we hope this whole would be a dynamic one. We don't want the projects that are being exhibited there today to remain there forever. We would like within the next 1 year, some of them will now be commercialized. We're inviting all stakeholders, including commercial entities, including industries like the Dangote Group, who has made a lot of investments building the largest single train refinery in the world, right here in Lekki, Lagos. We're inviting them to come in so that they can now promote some of these innovations to the level of commercialization.
Director of Renewable Energy and Sustainable Technology, crested, which I accepted. Later on, I fell sick and I tendered my resignation, telling him that I could not continue. He came to my house and pleaded that I should continue. He refused to accept my resignation. So I was forced to get up in the morning and go to an office. I can say really that Professor Edwin Bugaji kept me alive. And really, don't get discouraged whenever you fall sick. Get up and get something to do. So, Crested was established and we swung into action. Some of our staff are already involved in some of the exhibits we will see today, like the e-scooter, the 3D printer, and the Hinata Energy. Right now, this directorate is actively engaged in cooperation with the Center for Technology Development of Kaduna Polytechnic in the development of curriculum for solar PV equipment installation and maintenance. Very soon, we'll go into small hydro equipment installation and maintenance and into wind turbine installation and maintenance. You will agree with me, ladies and gentlemen, that the salvation of our country, Nigeria, which has such vast land and copious sunshine, lies in the development of solar energy. The operative word here and on this gathering is innovation, creativity, creation. Let me borrow a quotation from a foremost British philosopher who said, "All good things that exist are the fruits of originality." This is true. Unless you originate, unless you create, you are inviting extinction. And this is what this gathering is all about, that we have to innovate, we have to create it. And I'm glad to say here we have people who are in the forefront of this creation and innovation. Professor Edwin Bugaji and Professor M.S. Aruna. Let me seize the opportunity to tell you the story of an inventor. He invited people to come and watch him launch his steamship. They were using rowing boats and sailing ships by then, but he had invented a steamship, and he invited people to come and watch him launch it. Among the audience was one of these doubting Thomases, who kept saying to all those who care to listen, "He cannot move it. He cannot move it." The inventor went into his contraption. There was a whiff of smoke, a whistle, and the contraption started to move. The doubting Thomas, mouth open, started saying, "He can't stop it. He can't stop it." So what we are here, ladies and gentlemen, is to move the immovable. And also stop the stoppable. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Special guest of honor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome. Dr. Zakari, like just to present the background both from our various institutions we visited, but also the database for the research we obtained. So it has been an privilege to assist the secretary of research and education where we have access to capturing data and will be available on our website for industrial use or for other means of using these data for further research. So it's a really important for that aspect. For the institution of visited, we had quickly to see researches that were innovative and commercializable, and these researches were found to have potential and at the same time have local content that we need to encourage such researches, and we thank God with the speed we just had from the special speaker, the opportunity we just been given to see how we can have an industrial linkage between the two institutions and the industry. So we thank you once again for giving us what. Then for the research we have innovation, and this is innovations. We have this coming from Canada Technique, where we have the 3D printers, that is innovation that actually has been more than 100% local content. If you go to the exhibition hall, you will see the printer and you will see the products that we have obtained from such printers. Electrical, mechanical, engineering, and also start prototype, also produce spare parts and other interesting. So this is a picture of what it looks like. This is also an innovation that came from the paper production from the solar elevator. We also were able to produce the solar powered elevator and transmit solar powered hand rolling elevator with sanitizer, solar powered sound wave actuated hand washing system. We also have it in the hall. We also have this time the pictures of what we have the automated irrigator system, deviated from the normal use of the manual hand use irrigating system to an automated system where it uses a solar energy. So we also have another research work, a commercialized work coming up from Canada this scooter. It's just a direct plug-in electric scooter where you just plug into your normal house socket and it recharges and will be used for about 3 hours before it goes down. Just a normal plug and you get it charged and you can use it, and it has a speed of about 45 kilometers to 50 kilometers per hour. This is the view of the scooter. We also have a design and construction of an FM transmitter. This FM transmitter was designed in the Polytechnic Ibadan, and that's what they use in the institution to have their FM system in the school. And this has also saved cost of going to import this system. So this is some review of what was produced. Then the United Energy was also produced from Canada Polytechnic, and this is a form of it involves the use of biofuel. It's just a source of cooking, and we have them in 2 various forms. We have the single and the double one. Then we have the palm kernel fiber that was used to reinforce to produce a reinforced mortar tiles, and this mortar tiles was also obtained from Polytechnic, and we just tried to see how we could reduce the concentration of cement to save costs and to produce a tiles. We also have an innovation that came out from the Polytechnic University, an automated system for irrigation and test of soil moisture. This test is automated and tends to regulate the water tends to regulate the amount of water in the soil. One, it can be helpful in irrigation, where the amount of water in the soil, if it's depleting and reducing, it has a probe that detects that. So immediately it detects that there's no content in the water. Automatically it has an automatic switch to allow the water to be supplied to the soil, and eventually, if it's saturated, it trims off again. So this is what it looks like. I also have another innovation coming from Kaduna Polytechnic by Abdul Nuruddin, a data acquisition, graphic time, value, and imaging processing system. It's a data acquisition, graphic time, value, and images machine that is directly dependent on this. Basically, fabricated using software design. We also have a multifaceted intravenous therapy system. These monitoring systems can be helpful in the hospital, where you have a central processing room where you have a central processing room that monitors the IV fluids, either in fluids or in the blood or liquids in the bag, and whereby it monitors the levels of the liquid. Immediately the level drops, it detects this, and it requires it. So the person in charge of observing it can easily know which of the rooms where this depletion occurs, and at the end of the day, corrects it immediately. So it's wireless and it's a very good innovation too. Then we also have another innovation coming from Federal Protective of where we have recycled waste, nylon plastic bottles. These have been able to see how we can eliminate waste products from our environment by putting them into use to produce put them into use. So that it's an alternative by removing the cement, use and can produce and conducting ties too. We also have staffing time, solar time. This was produced by Federal Protective Group. It's a heater system that can be mobile. It can be used in the industry, sector industry, it can be used in other industries, even at home, in restaurants, in your hotels, it's mobile. So you can easily heat your water by your solar energy. We also have a lead researcher, Professor Dr. Engineer NBTE from the Polytechnic Ibadan. He also construction of the hydrogen generator for fuel cell. This hydrogen generator for fuel cell is just a crossover between the battery and thermal engine. It tends to have an efficiency of making clean the fuel during the process of producing the power and energy. So it's entirely a local content product too. We also have a chicken defending machine produced from Delta State Polytechnic Agua School. This chicken defending machine has the ability of defending slaughtered chickens or poultry beds, and it defends it, removes it, makes it clean. So it's made up of plastics. It has also some motor, it's electrically driven. They also have solar powered sound wave filtered MP tunnel system. This one is also present in our exhibition hall. This one is found to is mainly helpful or useful during mainly like it plays a very major role in the COVID-19 pandemic, where you don't need to touch items. So it does not allow you to touch after peeing, you just make a snap, and the water runs out for between 3 to 4 minutes, it runs out, and you leave after that. So it doesn't allow you to touch anything there. So we also have a work coming from out to the technique, that is by Dr. Loka. It buys ceramic bones, substituting using local source ceramic raw material. It is also a type of medical procedure, used in medical procedures and used in orthopedics. It's just a substitute to the normal bone. It's an artificial bone produced from bioceramics. They also have a microporous bricks, and this microporous bricks are identified to be very light. They are found to be soundproof, so they have excellent acoustic property, and they are also applicants. We also have the rice husk and gasifier from Federal Protective Movie. It's simply, it has a low cost and clean money store, single and square. This is what it looks like. It's also present in the mall. Then there is elevation, also that came from Canal Protective, production protective element from this car home. These are the elements from doing this car home. So it just tend to have an essence of also removing waste from the environment and converting the fibers from the waste car home, if it stays, to eventually into a useful product that can serve as an element. So thank you very much for this.
Now, despite the opportunities and high potential of sustainable development brought about, as I said, of this industrial revolution, they risk increasing inequalities between the technology have and the technology have not. So we are either there, we catch up with the technology wave, or our situation will rather worsen. Another ranking from 1 to 121, the countries that prioritize technology, research and development, because you see, the items that are used in this ranking are ICT, knowledge, skills development, research and development, industry, are products of R&D. Even finance, your wealth creation is based on how much output you are producing, using locally and exporting. It is the developed economies that are at the peak. They are the ones that are closing to one, the first highest rank, followed of course by the transition economies. The transition economies sometimes are at the same level with those that are developing. Transition economies like China and India and Singapore, sometimes you wonder whether you will classify them as developed instead of transition, but they are no longer developing economies. Now, Chairman sir, ES, polytechnics have had glorious days in the 1970s and 1980s when they were producing relevant graduates and quality graduates needed by the industries. Graduates of national diplomas and higher national diploma had employers of labors from private sectors waiting for them, in fact, offering them employment before they graduate.
Nigeria and the World Community. Please put that together for the chairman of the occasion. Thank you.
The purpose of this exhibition is to show the world what polytechnics in Nigeria can do. We have developed relevant, appropriate technologies that are needed by the national economy and even needed by other economies outside the country. And for very long, research and development has been given more attention to universities. And what we are saying is there must be a paradigm shift. Polytechnics should be recognized for the purpose of moving some of the researches to innovations. And today's exhibition has illustrated that. We have exhibited a 3D printer from Kaduna Polytechnic, an e-scooter, again from Kaduna Polytechnic, Federal Polytechnic offer Auchi, Mubi, and the rest of them different products, even in medical areas. And these are innovations which can help the Nigerian economy. And we believe seriously that if we can fund polytechnics in research and development, we will achieve more. A lot of the researchers in the universities, they end up as journal papers. In the polytechnic, we are practically oriented. We are going to produce prototypes that can really make impact on the national economy, that will stop importation of all these gadgets. We can make it in Nigeria if the Nigerian system can recognize polytechnics as serious partners in research. So the point we are raising is the world should value, Nigeria should value the contributions of polytechnics in research and development and give us more funding. We are inviting private sector to come and collaborate with these polytechnics. This exhibition hall will be open throughout the year so that industries, other stakeholders can come to the NBTE and see what polytechnics are able to produce. We are going to continue to upgrade this exhibition hall, update it and upgrade it, and we are going to facilitate this collaboration so that polytechnics can, be given the proper place.
Lastly, this wonderful thing polytechnics have been doing. The next thing people will expect from Nigeria is action, for the federal government to take action.
That is it. Well, we are not only appealing to federal government, we are appealing to private sector. If you have a patent, you have a workable prototype, we are inviting industries to come and work together with these polytechnics. The issue of funding can be, federal government can fund it, but when it comes to moving it to innovation, we are inviting industries, the Dangote groups, the BUA, the several other big, companies all over the country. Let's please rely on our own inventions. Enough of importation. We'll be saving foreign exchange. We'll even be making foreign exchange for the nation if some of these innovations are commercialized. And many of them are proven. They can be commercialized. The 3D printer that we have been importing from Germany, it has been made in Kaduna Polytechnic. And even though the dimension may look small, but it has the capacity to be expanded to produce large-scale, three-dimensional products. In the future, there is even, you can even build houses with a 3D printer. I mean, all you need to do is put the design, the soft copy of the design, into the memory of the printer. It will pick it and build the whole house for you. This is the direction the whole world is going into. We have already developed a small unit here. There's a patent over it, and we're appealing for industries to come and collaborate with polytechnics so that this will be something which Nigeria can be proud of. Let Nigeria also produce a product that we can call Nigerian. If you go to Korea, they have LG, being used all over the world. They have Samsung, Hyundai, being used all over the world. Go to Germany, they have Mercedes. They have several other products. Go to Japan, Sony, Panasonic, etc. What is Nigeria contributing to the global village? These are the products that we can now develop further so that they will become world brand. The journey of a long miles, it starts with one steps. The steps have already been started. And we are appealing to our private sector to please have confidence in our polytechnics.